The rain hammered against the windows of my small apartment in Manchester, mirroring the storm raging inside me. Alistair, a 43-year-old software engineer, had always prided myself on being a rational man, a man of logic and order. But logic had deserted me the moment I saw the text message on Bronte's phone. Bronte, my wife of 15 years. Bronte, the woman I thought I knew better than myself. Bronte, who was apparently having an affair with someone named Declan. The message was simple, brutal. Can't wait to see you tomorrow night. I'm already dreaming of your touch tomorrow night. Bronte had told me she was attending a business conference in Birmingham, a business conference that apparently involved a lot more than just spreadsheets and presentations. My hands trembled as I scrolled through the rest of the messages. They painted a picture of stolen moments, secret rendezvous, and whispered promises. A picture that shattered the carefully constructed reality of my marriage. I met Bronte at a local bookshop. She was working there part-time while studying for her literature degree. I was immediately drawn to her intelligence, her wit, and her passion for life. We bonded over our shared love of classic novels and independent films. Our courtship was a whirlwind of romantic dates, intellectual debates, and shared dreams. We married 2 years later in a small ceremony surrounded by our closest friends and family. Our life together had been comfortable, predictable, perhaps even a little boring. We had settled into a routine of work, home-cooked meals, and quiet evenings spent reading or watching television. We talked about having children, but the timing never seemed right. There was always another promotion to chase, another financial goal to achieve. Years slipped by and the dream of parenthood faded into the background. I thought we were happy. I thought we were content. But apparently, Bronte wasn't. Apparently, she needed more than I could offer. I spent the rest of the evening in a daze, replaying memories in my head, searching for clues I had missed. Had she been unhappy for a long time? Had I been too preoccupied with my own life to notice her needs? Was I simply not enough for her? The questions swirled around in my head, offering no easy answers. I felt like I was drowning in a sea of confusion and despair. When Bronte finally arrived home late the next afternoon, I tried to act normal. I greeted her with a kiss, asked about her day, and helped her unpack her suitcase. But inside, I was a volcano of suppressed emotions, ready to erupt at any moment. "Was the conference?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual. "It was fine," she replied, avoiding my gaze. "A lot of presentations, a lot of networking. You know how it is." I knew how it was. It was a lie. A carefully constructed facade designed to hide her betrayal. I couldn't take it anymore. The charade was suffocating me. I had to confront her. I had to know the truth. "Bronte," I said, my voice trembling slightly. "We need to talk." She looked at me, her eyes widening slightly. "What is it, Alistair? You seem upset." I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound. "Upset doesn't even begin to describe how I feel. I know about Declan." Her face paled. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. "I saw the messages, Bronte," I continued, my voice rising. "I know you're having an affair. How could you do this to me? How could you betray me like this?" Tears welled up in her eyes. "Alistair, I can explain." "Explain?" I scoffed. "What is there to explain? You're cheating on me. You're lying to me. You're destroying everything we've built together." "It's not like that," she sobbed. "It just happened. I didn't mean for it to go this far. It just happened," I repeated, incredulous. "You didn't mean for it to go this far. You're telling me you accidentally fell into bed with another man. Is that what you're saying?" She didn't answer. She just stood there crying, her face contorted with guilt and shame. "Is he Bronte?" I demanded. "Who is Declan? Is he someone I know?" She hesitated for a moment, then whispered, He's a colleague. We work together on the same team." My heart sank. A colleague, someone she saw every day, someone I had probably met countless times. "How long has this been going on?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "A few months," she admitted. "It started as just flirting, harmless banter. But then it escalated. A few months. That meant she had been lying to me for months, leading a double life right under my nose. I felt a surge of anger, a burning rage that threatened to consume me. I wanted to scream, to shout, to break things. But I forced myself to remain calm, to maintain some semblance of control. "Why, Bronte?" I asked, my voice heavy with pain. "Why did you do this? What did I do wrong?" "It's not you, Alistair," she said, her voice choked with sobs. "It's me. I've been feeling restless lately, like I'm missing something, like I'm not living my life to the fullest, so you decided to have an affair." I said, my voice dripping with sarcasm. That's your solution to feeling restless, to betray your husband, to destroy your marriage. I know it was wrong, she cried. I know I've made a terrible mistake, but I can't help how I feel, so what now, Bronte? I asked, my voice devoid of emotion. What do you want to do? Do you want to leave me? Do you want to be with Declan? She looked at me, her eyes filled with fear and uncertainty. I don't know, she whispered. I honestly don't know. I stared at her, my heart aching with a pain I had never known before. The woman I loved, the woman I had shared my life with, was a stranger to me. I no longer recognized her. I no longer understood her. I think you should leave, I said, my voice firm. I think you should pack your things and go. I can't be in the same house with you right now. I need time to think. I need time to process everything that's happened, she nodded, tears streaming down her face. Okay, she said. I'll go. She went upstairs and began packing her suitcase. I stood there watching her, feeling numb. It was like watching a movie, a tragic drama unfolding before my eyes, but it wasn't a movie. It was my life, my marriage, my heart. She came downstairs a few minutes later, her suitcase in hand. She looked at me, her eyes pleading for forgiveness. I'm sorry, Alistair, she said. I'm so sorry. I didn't say anything. I just opened the door and watched her walk out into the rain. As the door closed behind her, I felt a wave of grief wash over me. I sank to my knees, sobbing uncontrollably. My world had been shattered. My dreams had been crushed. My heart had been broken. I spent the next few weeks in a state of shock. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't concentrate on anything. I called in sick to work, spending my days wandering aimlessly around my apartment, replaying the events of the past few weeks in my head. I reached out to a few close friends, confiding in them about Bronte's affair. They were supportive, offering words of comfort and encouragement, but nothing could ease the pain. Nothing could fill the void that Bronte had left behind. I considered trying to salvage the marriage, to go to couples therapy, to work through our issues. But the thought of forgiving Bronte, of trusting her again, seemed impossible. The betrayal had cut too deep. The wound was too raw. I decided to consult a divorce lawyer to start the process of legally separating from Bronte. It was a difficult decision, but I knew it was the right one. I couldn't stay in a marriage that was built on lies and deceit. The divorce proceedings were long and arduous. There were arguments over property, assets, and finances. But eventually, we reached a settlement. We divided our belongings, sold our house, and went our separate ways. I moved into a small apartment in the city center, a clean, modern space that felt sterile and impersonal. It was a far cry from the cozy home I had shared with Bronte, but it was mine. A fresh start, a blank canvas. I threw myself into my work, spending long hours at the office, trying to distract myself from the pain. I started going to the gym, working out to exhaustion, trying to release the pent-up anger and frustration. I also started seeing a therapist, a kind, understanding woman who helped me process my emotions and develop coping mechanisms. She encouraged me to focus on myself, to prioritize my own needs, to rebuild my life from the ground up. Slowly, gradually, I began to heal. The pain didn't disappear completely, but it became more manageable. The memories didn't fade away, but they lost their power to overwhelm me. I started socializing again, going out with friends, attending concerts and art exhibitions. I even tried online dating, meeting a few interesting women. But I wasn't ready for a serious relationship. I needed more time to heal, to rediscover myself, to learn to trust again. One evening, a few months after the divorce was finalized, I received a phone call from an unknown number. I hesitated for a moment, then answered it. "Hello," I said. "Alistair," a voice said on the other end. "It's Bronte." My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't spoken to her since the divorce. I didn't know what to say. "Bronte," I said, my voice cautious. "What do you want?" I wanted to apologize, she said, her voice trembling. "I know I hurt you deeply. I know I destroyed our marriage, and I'm so sorry." I remained silent, listening to her words, trying to gauge her sincerity. "Things didn't work out with Declan," she continued. "He left me a few weeks ago. He said he wasn't ready for a serious relationship. He said he only wanted a bit of fun." I felt a twinge of satisfaction, a small measure of justice. Declan had used her just as she had used me. "I'm all alone now, Alistair," she said, her voice breaking. "I have no friends, no family, no one to turn to. I've ruined everything." I felt a flicker of sympathy for her, a brief moment of compassion. But it quickly faded away. "I'm sorry to hear that, Bronte," I said, my voice cold. "But I can't help you. You made your choices. You have to live with the consequences." "No," she sobbed. "I know I deserve it, but I just wanted you to know that I'm truly sorry. I'll never forgive myself for what I did to you. Goodbye, Bronte," I said and hung up the phone. I stood there for a moment, staring at the phone, feeling nothing. The anger, the pain, the grief had all dissipated. All that was left was a sense of emptiness, a void where love and trust had once resided. I realized that I had finally moved on. I had finally let go of the past. I had finally forgiven Bronte, not for her sake, but for my own. I deleted her number from my phone and walked out onto my balcony. The rain had stopped and the sky was beginning to clear. A faint ray of sunshine peeked through the clouds, illuminating the city below. I took a deep breath, filling my lungs with fresh air. I was free. I was single. I was ready to start a new chapter in my life. I knew that the road ahead wouldn't be easy. There would be challenges, setbacks, and moments of doubt, but I was confident that I could overcome them. I had survived the worst betrayal imaginable. I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more resilient. I was Alistair, and I was ready to live again. Time passed. I continued to work on myself, focusing on my career, my health, and my personal growth. I started taking evening classes in photography, rekindling a long-dormant passion. I traveled to new places, exploring different cultures and broadening my horizons. I made new friends, people who appreciated me for who I was, not for who I was married to. One day, I met a woman named Genevieve. She was a vibrant, intelligent, and compassionate artist who shared my love of photography. We bonded over our shared experiences, our mutual interests, and our similar values. We started dating, cautiously at first, both of us wary of repeating past mistakes. But as we got to know each other better, we realized that we had something special. A connection that was based on honesty, trust, and mutual respect. We fell in love. Deeply, passionately, irrevocably in love. Genevieve helped me heal the remaining scars from my past. She taught me to trust again, to open my heart to love, to believe in the possibility of a happy future. We got married in a small ceremony overlooking the ocean, surrounded by our closest friends and family. It was the happiest day of my life. I often think about Bronte, about the choices she made, about the path she chose to take. I don't hate her. I don't resent her. I just feel a sense of sadness, a sense of pity. She made a mistake, a terrible mistake that cost her everything. She lost her husband, her home, her friends, her reputation. She ended up alone, isolated, and filled with regret. I, on the other hand, found happiness again. I found love again. I found a new life that was even better than the one I had lost. I learned a valuable lesson from my experience. A lesson about the importance of honesty, trust, and communication in a relationship. A lesson about the power of forgiveness, resilience, and self-love. I am grateful for the pain I endured, for the challenges I overcame, for the person I have become. I am Alistair, and I am finally at peace. Years drifted by, filled with laughter, adventures, and the quiet comfort of shared dreams realized. Genevieve and I built a life together, a tapestry woven with love, understanding, and unwavering support. We traveled the world, capturing its beauty through our lenses, our shared passion fueling our bond. We created a home filled with warmth and joy, a sanctuary where we could always be ourselves. One crisp autumn evening, as we sat by the fireplace, sipping wine and reminiscing about our journey together, Genevieve turned to me, her eyes sparkling with affection. "You know, Alistair," she said, "I often wonder what would have happened if you hadn't gone through all that pain with Bronte." I smiled, taking her hand in mine. "I wonder that too sometimes," I admitted. "But I believe that everything happens for a reason. If I hadn't experienced that betrayal, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have learned the lessons I needed to learn, and I wouldn't have been open to finding you." She squeezed my hand, her smile widening. "You're right," she said. "It's like the universe had to break you down in order to build you back up, even stronger and more beautiful than before." I nodded, thinking about the long and winding road that had led me to this moment. "It's funny," I said. "I used to think that Bronte had ruined my life, but now I realize that she actually set me free. She gave me the opportunity to create a new life, a better life with you." Genevieve leaned in and kissed me softly. "You deserve all the happiness in the world, Alistair," she whispered. "And I promise to spend the rest of my life making sure you get it." We sat in silence for a few moments, content in each other's presence, grateful for the love that we shared. I looked around our cozy living room, at the photographs on the walls, at the books on the shelves, at the fire crackling in the hearth. I realized that I had everything I could ever want. I had a loving wife, a beautiful home, and a fulfilling life. I had come a long way from that dark and stormy night when I discovered Bronte's betrayal. I had weathered the storm, survived the pain, and emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. I am Alistair, and I am finally truly happy. Years later, I received an unexpected letter. The return address was a small town I didn't recognize. Curiosity piqued, I opened it. It was from Bronte. Her handwriting was shaky and uneven, a stark contrast to the confident script I remembered. The letter was brief, filled with apologies and a plea for forgiveness. She wrote about her struggles, her loneliness, and the regret that consumed her every day. She mentioned that she was ill and didn't have much time left. I read the letter with a mix of emotions: sadness, pity, and a faint flicker of anger. But mostly, I felt a sense of closure. I had already forgiven her, not for her sake, but for my own. But reading her words, knowing the extent of her suffering, solidified that forgiveness. I discussed it with Genevieve, who, as always, offered her unwavering support and understanding. She encouraged me to respond, not to rekindle the past, but to offer a final gesture of peace. I wrote a short letter back to Bronte, wishing her well and assuring her that I had forgiven her. I didn't dwell on the past, but instead focused on the importance of finding peace and acceptance in her final days. A few weeks later, I received another letter. This time, it was from a solicitor, informing me of Bronte's passing. She had left me a small inheritance, a symbolic gesture of atonement. I donated the money to a local charity, feeling that it was the most appropriate way to honor her memory and give something back to the community. Bronte's death marked the final chapter in our shared history. It was a reminder of the fragility of life, the importance of forgiveness, and the enduring power of love. I continued to live my life with Genevieve, cherishing every moment, grateful for the love and happiness that we shared. We grew old together, our bond deepening with each passing year. We traveled the world, explored new cultures, and created countless memories. In the end, I realized that Bronte's betrayal, while initially devastating, had ultimately led me to a better place. It had forced me to confront my own vulnerabilities, to learn to love myself, and to open my heart to a love that was true and lasting. I am Alistair, and I have lived a full and meaningful life. I have experienced pain, loss, and betrayal, but I have also experienced love, joy, and happiness. And for that, I am eternally grateful.